My Omega husband is the main character in a popular harem novel. Practically every desirable alpha in the story is in love with him. The handsome, wealthy, aloof CEO, the wild, rebellious trust fund kid, the gentle, devoted superstar. Without exception, they are all hopelessly devoted to my husband. And me? I'm just a plain, unremarkable beta. In the story, I'm known as the clueless husband. My only purpose is to add a little spice to their thrilling affair, a background character they can cheat on for an extra dash of excitement. So, it turns out I'm the disposable nice guy trope? After I fell down the stairs and hit my head, strange memories flooded my mind. That's when I realized the truth. I was just a minor character in a cheesy romance novel, the unimportant husband who gets pushed aside. So I decided to act fast. I handed my husband, Jason, divorce papers. When Jason read them, his beautiful face looked confused and sad. "Josh, why do you want a divorce?" he asked, his voice shaking. Tears filled his almond-shaped eyes. Did I do something wrong? Jason was the love of my life, the person I'd worked so hard to win over. Seeing him cry made my heart ache, and I almost wanted to comfort him. No, stop it. I told myself. If I felt bad for him now, what would happen to me later? The thought of being betrayed and tossed into the ocean by his jealous alpha suitors sent a chill through me. My mind cleared instantly. "You didn't do anything wrong," I said. At this point in the story, Jason hadn't even met the main alphas, so I couldn't blame him for anything. I had to make up an excuse. "I just don't feel the same anymore. Let's end things peacefully." Jason cried harder, his voice breaking. "You promised you'd make me happy forever. Are you breaking that promise now?" His words made me feel guilty, and I nervously adjusted my glasses. Everyone thought I was lucky to be married to Jason. In a world where Omegas are rare, only 6% of the population, they're considered special. And Jason wasn't just any Omega. He was gorgeous, rich, and kind. The perfect partner. I fell for him the moment I saw him in college. I did everything to win him over. Always there for him, no matter what. But he kept me at a distance, never fully letting me in. For 3 years, I chased him. By the time we graduated, I was ready to give up. Then out of nowhere, he called me. I rushed to a coffee shop and found him crying, his face red and puffy. "Josh, what do I do?" he sobbed. "My parents are forcing me into an arranged marriage with some old alpha for a business deal." My heart broke for him. "Jason, come with me," I said, grabbing his hand. "I'll make you happy." And so, we ran away and got married. I was thrilled. In college, Jason had countless suitors, and I was the least impressive of them all. No one could believe he chose me, an ordinary beta with no family, average looks, and no special talents. I thought I'd won the ultimate prize. But I had no idea about the trouble coming my way, a storm that would flip my life upside down. "I'll never divorce you." For the first time, Jason got really angry. His eyes were red as he ripped up the divorce papers, stormed into his room, and locked the door. No matter how much I knocked, he wouldn't answer. This wasn't what I expected. In the novel, Jason only married me to escape an arranged marriage. He didn't actually love me. He always said he had a gland problem to keep me at a distance. We'd slept in separate rooms for the whole year we were married. To him, I was just a boring beta, not his ideal partner. So, why was he so upset about the divorce? Shouldn't he be happy I brought it up? My head started to hurt. The next morning, his door was still locked. I knocked, but he didn't respond. Feeling defeated, I ate a quick breakfast and went to work. At the office, someone handed me a file. "Mr. Evans, can you take this proposal to Mr. Thorne for a signature?" "Sure," I said, grabbing the file and heading to the CEO's office on the top floor. After a soft knock, a cold voice said, "Come in." The man at the desk was Damien Thorne, my boss. He was a strikingly handsome alpha with deep eyes, a sharp nose, and a strong jawline. But seeing him now felt different. Why? Because Damien was the first main alpha in this ridiculous novel, the guy who starts all the trouble. I gritted my teeth, glaring at him. "I'm working hard for you, and you're planning to steal my husband." Damien frowned slightly when he saw me. He took the file and asked in a cool tone, "Is my schedule for tonight ready?" "Yes, it's all set," I replied. He nodded, then paused and asked, "How are you and Jason doing?" I forced a smile. "We're doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Thorne." Damien and Jason were high school friends. I only got this job at Thorn Industries because of Jason's connection to him. But I never suspected Damien was secretly in love with my husband. No wonder he always looked at me like I was garbage, a rival he couldn't stand. That evening, Damien had to attend a charity auction at 6, and as his secretary, I went with him. Before the auction, there was a fancy dinner. The room sparkled with chandeliers, filled with rich and important people. Damien stayed calm and confident, giving off the strong presence of a top alpha. I followed quietly behind him, but then I noticed someone holding a champagne glass, slowly walking toward us. "Long time no see," the man said. He wore a sharp white suit that made his tall, lean figure stand out. I recognized his handsome face from movies. It was Elias Vance, the third main alpha in the novel, a famous superstar. My heart skipped a beat. Elias smiled at Damien, his amber eyes shining under the lights. "Mr. Thorne, I heard you've been spending time with the Lee family's Omega. Our wedding bell's coming soon?" Damien's face turned cold. "That's none of your business," he snapped. I knew the Thorne family was looking for a partner for Damien. But in the novel, once Damien falls for Jason, all those other potential matches disappear. Elias kept smiling, but Damien's expression was icy. It was clear they didn't like each other. I'd heard they were enemies. Their families were old friends and they grew up together, but their personalities clashed and they never got along. In the future, they'd fight over Jason constantly. The auction starting. "Mr. Evans, let's go," Damien said, turning away from Elias. I nodded but glanced back. Elias didn't seem fazed by Damien's cold attitude. He kept smiling, but his eyes followed Damien with a dark, hidden look of hostility. After the auction, I called my best friend, Mark, to grab a drink. At the bar, I told him I wanted to divorce Jason. His jaw dropped. "Josh, are you crazy?" he exclaimed. "Jason was the hottest guy in college. Everyone wanted him, and you're throwing that away?" He stared at me, confused. "You're not even drunk. What's going on?" I couldn't tell him about the novel. I'd sound insane.
He squinted at me.
"Wait, are you cheating on him?" "No way," I snapped. "You know I'm not like that. I just don't think we're right for each other." To my surprise, Mark didn't argue. "You know," he said with a sigh, "I'm not shocked. We betas don't have pheromones. When an omega goes into heat, we can't help them. That can cause problems in a relationship. Look around," he continued. "How many betas stay with omegas long term? Most omegas date betas for a bit, but they usually end up with alphas. It's just biology." His words hit me hard. He was right. In the novel, Jason cheats on me during his heat when he meets Damien. They can't resist each other, and that's when everything falls apart. Jason feels guilty at first, but he never really loved me. In the end, his omega nature wins, and he chooses an alpha. Being a simp got me nowhere. I felt bitter and grabbed my glass, downing my drink in one go. The cool liquid calmed the storm in my chest a little. "Another brandy," I called to the bartender. 2 drinks later, I was wobbly on my feet. As I stumbled toward the restroom, a strong chocolate scent hit me. Why does the restroom smell like chocolate? Before I could figure it out, someone tall and slim pinned me against the wall. The chocolate smell grew stronger, wrapping around me like a heavy blanket. Even through my clothes, I felt the heat radiating from their body. The alcohol slowed me down, and I stood there, dazed, before looking up. It was Zane, my old rival from college. Back then, we both chased Jason and hated each other. Zane, with his rich family, always made my life miserable, smirking at me like I was beneath him. I couldn't stand his cocky attitude. Worse, Zane was the second main alpha in the novel. The thought made me furious. This jerk gets to be with Jason, and I'm tossed aside like garbage? "Get off me," I growled, trying to push him away. But he grabbed my wrists easily, pinning them. Then I noticed something was wrong. His breathing was heavy, his eyes glassy. He leaned closer, his breath hot against my neck. "Oh no," I realized. "He's in a rut. Look at me," I shouted, struggling. "I'm a beta." He just frowned, frustrated, and slammed my hands above my head. Betas have glands, but they don't work like alphas or omegas. Without pheromones to guide him, Zane couldn't find my gland. In a rage, he bit down hard on my neck. Pain shot through me, and my vision went white. The pain gave me a burst of energy. I saw an opening and punched him hard in the stomach. He grunted, loosening his grip. I bolted out of the restroom and ran. It was midnight when I got home. The living room was dark, and I thought Jason was asleep. But when I turned on the light, I saw him sitting straight up on the sofa. I quickly covered the bite mark on my neck and forced a weak smile. "Why are you still awake?" Jason sat on the sofa, staring at me with cold, sharp eyes. His long, dark hair hung loose, making his pale skin and red lips stand out. Under the harsh light, he looked almost dangerous, like a mysterious figure from a story. His dark expression made me nervous. "What's wrong?" I asked, swallowing hard. Jason stood up, his face icy. He'd always seemed gentle and shy before, but now I noticed he was taller than me, by a good bit. "Who are you with tonight?" he demanded. "Just Mark," I said, rubbing my nose, feeling oddly guilty. "You're lying," Jason snapped, his eyes flashing with anger. "You smell like an alpha's pheromones." My face turned red. "Jason, let me explain." But he wasn't listening. He grabbed my hand, pulling it away from my neck. When he saw the bite mark, his body shook, and his face looked scarier than I'd ever seen. "Josh," he shouted, "did you sleep with an alpha?" His words were so harsh I lost it. "What are you talking about?" I yelled back. But Jason was too angry to hear me. He dragged me to the bedroom, threw me onto the bed, and pinned me down. I was shocked. He was way stronger than the delicate Omega I thought he was. "Are you crazy?" I shouted, trying to push him off. But he held my wrists tightly, and I couldn't move. His fingers gently touched the bite mark on my neck, but his voice was cold. "I held back from touching you here, and you let someone else do it so easily?" The air felt dangerous, and my body trembled under his grip. "Honey, it's a misunderstanding," I pleaded. He put a finger to my lips, silencing me. "Sure, I don't want excuses." He smiled, but his eyes were like ice. He grabbed my chin, forcing me to look at him. "If it's a misunderstanding," he said softly, "let me check for myself." "Check? What does that mean?" Before I could figure it out, his lips pressed against mine. I froze. "Is Jason kissing me?" As our lips met, a strong, aggressive tequila scent hit me, his pheromones. I was stunned. Jason always said he had a gland problem, so I'd never smelled his scent before. I thought it would be soft, like his gentle personality. But this was bold and overpowering. Is this really an Omega scent? I was so confused. Jason noticed I wasn't focused. He bit my lip, annoyed, and his hands moved over my body, stopping at a very private spot. "Wait. Something's wrong. Is he trying to take control?" Panic hit me. No way. As a beta, I couldn't let an Omega dominate me. I'd be humiliated if anyone found out. I tried to push him off, but then a strange heat exploded from the gland in my neck, spreading through my body. What's happening? Why was I, a beta, feeling something like an Omega's heat? My mind got foggy, and the heat made me dizzy. Jason's face looked even more captivating in the lamplight. "Jason," I croaked, my throat dry, a weird ache growing inside me. But then Jason stopped. He looked at me with a cruel, playful smile, enjoying my helpless state. "Want me to keep going?" he teased. I realized then he wasn't a sweet, gentle Omega. He was like a cunning wolf. "Go to hell," I snapped, glaring at him. "If you can't handle it, I'll find someone who can." That hit a nerve. His eyes darkened, and he pulled me close. "I was going to be gentle," he hissed, then leaned down, his sharp teeth aiming for my neck. I gasped in pain, my vision blurry. I could barely see Jason's head against my neck. I don't know how long it lasted. When he finally pulled back, his lips were stained with blood. He touched the bite mark on my neck, looking satisfied. "The mark," he whispered, his voice rough. "It's finally complete. Marked." The word hit me like a lightning bolt, snapping my foggy brain back to reality. "What mark?" I stared at Jason, his beautiful face, now looking almost devilish. "I'm a beta. My gland isn't even developed. How can I be marked?" I grabbed the back of my neck, yelling, "Are you some kind of mutant alpha?" "Alpha?" Jason wiped the blood from his lips, his expression cold and mocking. The warmth in his eyes was gone, replaced by the arrogance of a powerful predator. "Those weaklings could never mark you," he said. "My dear," he lifted my chin with a chuckle. "I can mark you, because I'm an enigma." "Enigma? Are you serious?" My eyes widened. Enigmas were incredibly rare. Only 8 were known worldwide. A new one was big news. "Why?" "Because enigmas could mark anyone, regardless of gender, and they were perfect in every way, smart, attractive, and strong. Their only flaw was their ruts, which could cause intense pheromone storms. Otherwise, they were unstoppable, destined for greatness. Jason an enigma? It sounded absurd. The chances of me meeting one, let alone marrying one, were slimmer than winning the lottery. I wanted to argue, but my body told a different story. I felt an invisible, unbreakable bond forming between us. Every move Jason made, every strand of his hair, pulled my attention like a magnet. He leaned down, kissing me with a fierce, possessive intensity. "Darling, the night's not over," he whispered. "Let's keep going." I was trapped, pinned beneath him. I wanted to scream. How did this happen? The overwhelming tequila scent filled the room again, dragging me into a spiral I couldn't escape. When I woke up, I was in a strange room. Groaning, I rubbed my aching back and put on my glasses. The room was fancy, decorated like something from an old European palace, with a security camera on the ceiling. Where am I? I tried to sit up, but a sharp pain in a certain spot made me wince. "Damn you, Jason." He'd pretended to be a gentle Omega and tricked me completely. As I swung my legs off the bed, I noticed something new, a delicate golden shackle on my left ankle. The chain clinked as I moved. "What is this?" Just then, Jason walked in with a tray of food. "Jason, what's this nonsense?" I snapped, thinking he was still mad about the bar incident. "I told you I didn't do anything with that alpha. The bite was an accident." He set the tray on the table and looked at me, his eyes cold and possessive. "I don't care if it was an accident," he said, stroking the back of my neck. "All I know is the only way to keep you by my side forever is to lock you up." "Lock me up?" My stomach dropped. Was he planning to keep me here forever? "Are you crazy?" I shouted. "Let me out of here." Jason ignored my struggles and kissed my forehead. "You're staying right here, my love," he said with a smile. "You're not going anywhere." Then he left. I tried to remove the shackle on my ankle, but it was too strong, no matter how hard I pulled. All I got was a sore, red ankle. To keep me occupied, Jason had filled the room with books and video games, things I usually enjoyed. So, being locked up wasn't completely awful. A beta maid named Amy took care of my daily needs. 2 months passed. Jason was busy with who knows what, visiting the villa only once a week. That jerk locks me up and then ignores me? One day, while I was glaring at the ceiling camera, the door burst open. A wave of intense tequila scent hit me, Jason's enigma pheromones. The smell was so strong it felt like a snake wrapping around me. Even as his marked partner, I could barely breathe. I touched my burning neck gland and snapped, "Jason, what's wrong with you? Control your pheromones." He didn't respond. Instead, he pulled me into a tight hug. Something was off, his breathing was uneven, and his body was fever-hot. "What's wrong?" I asked. He didn't answer. He just bared his sharp teeth and bit my neck gland again. Pain shot through me, and I yelled, "Let go." His pheromones grew heavier, pressing down on me. He bit my lip hard, and I tasted blood. A wave of heat hit me, but then Jason froze. His jaw clenched, veins bulging on his face, like he was fighting something. Suddenly, his eyes rolled back, and he collapsed. I stood there, shocked, before yelling for Amy. She rushed in, saw Jason, and called for help. Minutes later, paramedics arrived and carried him out. Amy turned to me. "Mr. Evans, the head of the family wants to see you." She pulled out a golden key and unlocked the shackle that had been on my ankle for 2 months. She led me to the living room, where a woman sat on a leather sofa. She was strikingly beautiful, with cold eyes like Jason's. An alpha. She handed me a cup of tea. "Hello. I'm Isabella, Jason's older sister." Isabella? The name shocked me. She was a big name in financial news. The Kim family was one of the richest and most powerful in Aurelia, with a global business empire. Jason was her younger brother? I was stunned. When we eloped, I never met his family. I knew he was wealthy, but not this wealthy. Isabella's gaze made me nervous. She leaned back casually. "Mr. Evans, have you heard of fated mates?" Fated mates? The rare, perfect couples with 100% pheromone compatibility. I didn't see what that had to do with anything. Adult enigmas need weekly medication to control their ruts and avoid pheromone storms, she explained. But the medicine has bad side effects. Long-term use damages their body. I froze. So Jason wasn't lying about his gland problem. "Since marking you," she continued, her voice heavy with worry, "Jason's ruts have gotten worse. To avoid disaster, he's been taking more medicine." That's why he collapsed today. Jason's condition is critical, Isabella said. Unless he bonds with his fated mate and their pheromones calm him, his body will break down. He'll turn into a monster driven by instincts. I was stunned. Fated mates were incredibly rare. How could Jason find his? Isabella seemed to know what I was thinking. Jason found his fated mate years ago, she said calmly. I was shocked. Then why did he marry me? I couldn't be his fated mate. I'm a beta with no pheromones. Isabella sighed, frustrated. I don't know why he chose you. He traveled the world to find his fated mate, but after meeting him, he refused to complete the bond. She looked at me, her eyes narrowing. No one in our family understands. His fated mate is a nearly perfect Omega, and you're just a beta. Her words stung, but she softened. I'm sorry, Mr. Evans, but you two aren't right for each other. She slid a check across the table. I stared at the string of zeros. $10 million. My mind went blank. Please take this and leave my brother, she said. To make her point, Isabella took me to a private hospital. There, I saw Jason. He was awake, but looked awful. His eyes were bloodshot, veins bulged on his forehead, and his handsome face was twisted in a snarl. He was chained to the bed to keep him from hurting anyone. Even through the thick glass, I could hear his pained roars. The mark on my neck throbbed, as if I felt a piece of his suffering. Then, a faint rose scent hit me. Since being marked, my senses were sharper. I knew it was an Omega's pheromones. I turned and saw him, a stunning Omega with pale skin and sapphire blue eyes. He smiled gently at me before hurrying into Jason's room with 2 nurses. It hit me. This was Jason's fated mate. Inside, the Omega wiped sweat from Jason's face. His pheromones calmed Jason, who stopped thrashing and lay still. The Omega's blue eyes were filled with deep, even as Jason's husband, I had to admit, they looked perfect together. Fated mates were legendary. Some countries even had laws that ended marriages if a fated mate was found. They were meant to be. And me? I caught my plain reflection in the glass. Just an ordinary beta, nothing special. Jason and I were from different worlds. I'm sorry, Mr. Evans, Isabella said. I just want my brother to live. I lowered my head, silent for a long time, then turned to her. Miss Kim, I'd like to leave. After losing my parents, I learned to toughen up. Chasing Jason made me shameless, but seeing that check brought back a spark of pride. Back at our apartment, I felt lost. Jason's things were everywhere, like he might walk in any second. Why didn't I take the money? I thought, kicking myself. At least I'd have something. My phone rang. It was Damien. Want to come back to work? He asked. I'd been gone 2 months, and he hadn't fired me. Relieved, I said. Yes, Mr. Thorne. I can start tomorrow. No husband, no money. I couldn't lose my job too. After hanging up, I felt a little lighter. Life had to go on. The next morning, I went to the office. As I reached the top floor, something felt off. The air was thick with 2 alpha pheromones. I knocked, but it took a while for someone to answer. When the door opened, it wasn't Damien, it was Elias Vance. My eyes widened. Why is he here? Elias smiled calmly. Inside, their pheromones mixed strangely, not clashing but blending in an odd harmony. Mr. Thorne, I started. Damien looked as cool as ever, except for the fresh bite mark on his neck and his misbuttoned shirt. It was obvious what was going on. Holy crap, I thought. Damien's with another alpha? His sworn enemy. Damien noticed my shock and glared at me. Damien glanced at Elias, looking embarrassed for a moment before regaining his cool. Good to have you back, he said, handing me a resume. We have a new intern starting today. You'll train him. A new secretary intern? That was odd. Damien saw my confusion. He's a relative's kid, here for an internship, he explained. Oh, a rich kid playing at a normal job, I thought, nodding with a smile, though my head was still spinning. I left the office in a daze. What's going on? Jason faked being an Omega, then his fated mate showed up, and now Damien and Elias, the first and third male leads, are together? This wasn't like the novel in my head. Was I imagining it all? But the memories felt so real. At my desk, I saw the new intern, a tall guy with bright blonde hair. When he turned, I froze. It was Zane. I checked the resume in disbelief. Yup, it was him. I had to train this jerk. Zane raised an eyebrow. So you're Mr. Evans. Thankfully, he didn't seem to remember the bar incident. I forced a smile. Yes, Mr. Thorne said I'll be supervising your. Before I could say internship, Zane leaned close, whispering, "Josh, why do you smell like pheromones?" I flinched. I'd put a pheromone-blocking patch on my neck to hide Jason's scent. Did this guy have a super nose? We were too close. I stepped back. Zane frowned, annoyed. "Why are you dodging?" he snapped. "That scent, it's not an Omega's. Are you cheating on Jason with another alpha? If you hurt him, you'll answer to me," he warned. I rolled my eyes. "What's it to you? Even if Jason and I split, he wouldn't pick you." Zane's face turned red with anger. I smirked and sat at my desk. Losing Jason to a beta like me must have crushed his perfect, privileged ego. I'd heard he got drunk and cried at a bar after Jason and I married. I wished I'd seen it. I would have laughed so hard. After work, I collapsed on my sofa, exhausted. On impulse, I opened my phone and scrolled through old messages with Jason. My thumb slipped, accidentally hitting the call button. I didn't hang up right away. A tiny, stupid hope flickered that he might answer. But seconds later, the call was cut off. I laughed bitterly at myself. Of course, he wouldn't want me. He had his fated mate now, a perfect match. Their love would only grow stronger, and they'd spend their lives together, parted only by death. I drifted off to sleep. In my dream, I was at our wedding again, holding the ring, my heart full of joy. But as I reached for Jason's hand, his face twisted in disgust, and he shoved me away. "Get away from me," he snarled, his cold words piercing my heart. Then he turned, smiling, and hugged the blue-eyed Omega, his eyes filled with a deep, loving look I'd never seen before. "You're the one I'm meant to be with," he said. Jason stared at me, tears streaming from his beautiful eyes. He was a powerful enigma, but in front of me, he was always crying, not the invincible figure he was supposed to be. Each tear felt like a stab in my heart. I couldn't look at him anymore. I lowered my eyes, ready to walk away, but then his eyes rolled back, and he collapsed like a puppet with no strings. In the hospital, Jason lay pale and still. A nurse rolled up his sleeve for N4, revealing his arms covered in deep, ugly scars, some so bad you could see bone. My heart ached. What happened to his arms? Jason loved playing the piano. I'd always been careful to protect his hands, never letting him do chores. Now they were ruined. "These are from his ruts," a soft voice said behind me. He hurt himself to stay conscious, so he wouldn't have to mark me. It was Milo, Jason's fated mate, his face full of sorrow. When I learned I had a fated mate, I was thrilled, like it was a gift from above, he said. But I never thought my fated mate would rather die than be with me. Rather die? Jason built a research lab, spending millions to find a cure for his pheromone disorder, just to be with you, Milo explained. He even tested drugs on himself, risking his life. I stood there, stunned. Why would someone like Jason do this for an ordinary beta like me? Everyone dreams of a fated mate, but not Jason, Milo said with a sad smile. Maybe he's right. A fated mate is just biology, but true love is a connection of the soul. He wiped a tear away. I've waited 2 years for him. I can't anymore. I'm letting go. Milo's blue eyes met mine, sincere. I wish you both happiness. After he and the nurse left, I stared at Jason's scarred arms, tears falling onto his wounds. My heart broke. I'd chased him for 3 years, never truly believing he could love me back. Even after we married, that doubt poisoned me. When things got tough, I ran instead of facing them, thinking it would hurt less. I took his hand, my tears falling onto his palm as I kissed it. I'm so sorry I let you go through this alone. I'll never let go again. Not long after we reconciled, I told Jason why I wanted a divorce. When I explained he was the main character in a trashy romance novel, a cheating Omega with a harem, his face showed pure shock for the first time. The next day, he took me to the hospital. Mr. Evans's fall down the stairs caused minor brain damage, leading to confusion, the doctor said. Jason looked worried. Is it serious? Not at all, the doctor replied. A short hospital stay for observation should fix it. Then he grinned at me. And maybe read fewer spicy novels. I forced a weak smile, wanting to disappear. After all this drama, I wasn't in a novel. I just hit my head too hard. Extra. Jason's POV. Jason was in a bad mood. Josh, that plain beta with nerdy glasses and a goofy smile, hadn't visited in a month. He looked like a dork, but Jason couldn't stop thinking about him. He first saw Josh at the university's anniversary event during freshman year. After Jason's piano performance, Josh appeared backstage. Your performance was amazing, Josh said, his eyes shining behind thick glasses. I'm Josh. Can we be friends? Just another admirer. Jason brushed him off, expecting never to see him again. He was in the country to find his fated mate, after all. But Josh kept showing up for 3 years, quietly persistent. He wasn't flashy, like others chasing Jason. He was a warm, steady presence, always in the front row at performances, watching silently, then slipping away. When they passed on campus, Josh's eyes sparkled with shy joy. Hi, Jason, he'd say, never upset when Jason ignored him. Sometimes, small gifts appeared at Jason's library spot, a flower, a milk tea, with neat sticky notes. Hope you have a good day. Stay warm. Josh. At first, Jason barely noticed. Josh was just a plain beta. But when Josh vanished, Jason felt empty, like something vital was gone. At a restaurant, Jason met Milo, his fated mate. Milo was perfect, beautiful, from a good family. His rose-scented pheromones stirred Jason's gland, urging him to love Milo. But his heart felt cold. A blurry image of Josh's goofy smile flashed in his mind, and suddenly, everything was clear. I'm sorry, Jason said, leaving Milo stunned as he fled. He had to see Josh. At the coffee shop where Josh worked, he overheard Josh laugh with a coworker. What's your type? The coworker teased. Omegas, Josh said brightly. I want a sweet, soft Omega husband. He likes Omegas? Jason left, heart heavy. To protect him, Isabella had given him a fake Omega identity. What if Josh only liked him because of that? For the first time, Jason cared deeply about someone. Losing Josh over a fake identity hurt too much. Enigmas are stubborn, and Jason was no different. He wouldn't give up. Josh, can we meet tomorrow? He asked over the phone. Josh's eager yes brought a small smile to Jason's face. It didn't matter who Josh liked. In the end, Jason would be the one to have him.